All right, so let's start with this. The show's called "This Is How They Replaced Joe Biden." We made a prediction on the show, and we got to go back and find when this was. We think this was last year, Dawson. We predicted what the Democrats were going to do. I mean, this strategy seemed very obvious to me. Okay, the Democrats actually don't like democracy. They're very undemocratic. And if you don't believe me, just go back and watch the tape on 2016 and 2020 elections. They didn't want Bernie Sanders as their candidate. They did everything they could to stop Bernie Sanders. You know, they got this thing called super delegates in the Democrat Party. It's the most hilarious thing. It's like, you're a delegate, but you're super. You have way, way more power and say. They are not democratic.
All delegates are equal. Some delegates are more equal than others.
Yes. Right? All right. So, anyhow, what I thought was they got a plan. Everyone in this room, you guys probably at home, you guys knew Joe Biden wasn't even good when he ran in 2020. But you've seen the evidence, right? I think the most glaring thing out there is the one where Biden is steered in a different direction by the Easter Bunny. Like, I can never get over that delusion that happened. Have you guys all seen this video? You've seen it?
No,
Drew, have you not seen?
I can't say no. I haven't.
Like a broken record. Pull it up, Dawson. We didn't have this prepared, but this is like the most insane thing you've ever seen. Biden clumsily follows the lead of some reporters asking questions. I think this is right around the Afghanistan withdrawal. Mm-hmm. And it's during that big Easter Bunny egg search, kind of thing. And he starts answering questions, and this was taboo for him to do. And the Easter Bunny runs interference. The Easter Bunny waves him off and pulls him away. Watch this video. We don't even need audio here. This is him answering a tough question. And here comes the Easter Bunny. No, Mr. President, come back over here. That's the President of the United States talking to the media. Who's in that bunny costume? that happened. And that was like, 3 years ago? So there's been this delusion, this mass delusion that he's okay, that the president's just fine. And we predicted that the guys behind the scenes, we're going to see that he's really troublesome in the election. And they're going to have to cut bait, right? And so what are they going to do? They're going to cut bait and allow a primary season to happen, a democratic process. They're so anti-democratic that the Florida Democrat Party didn't even have a primary this year. They literally didn't have a primary. They do not want competition. So they got to have a primary season, right? Other than Florida. Somehow Florida gets away with not doing one. But most states, it's like Minnesota's run by the actual government, right? So they got to have a primary in most of these states. So they keep Joe Biden. They all unify behind Joe Biden. The only way to replace Joe Biden is during the actual convention, which is scheduled in August. People don't know this. It's not who wins the primary. That person's just the presumptive nominee. The party actually has to do the blessing, and usually it's a dog and pony show, and I think everyone realizes it's going to be way different this year. And now a lot of people are waking up to it. And they're going to sneak in the guy they want, or gal, or maybe it is a guy. Who knows? Mega Jesse thinks it's Big Mike. So, so anyhow, the reason they're going to do this is because the guys behind the scenes, the Democrat operatives, control who that person is. Okay, so what do I know? I'm not in these communities, right? I've never been to Epstein's Island. Have you guys been to Epstein's Island? No, okay. No one's been to Epstein's Island here.
If we did, you wouldn't know.
Oh, yeah, of course. We'll see. Well, maybe it comes out. So, anyhow, we're not like part of this cabal, right? But we know there's a cabal because they literally stole the election from Bernie. They literally, it was
the same thing with Bernie as what happened to Ron Paul in 2012, right?
Right.
Where had the momentum, had the delegates in the polls, was winning, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, it's not Ron Paul, it's the guy that we want. They did the same thing to Bernie, right? I think it's because Democrats live in such social bubbles that they thought this whole time, like all the consultants, the DNC, everyone thought that, well, as long as Trump is the nominee, it's fine that we have Biden because people are more so going to vote against Trump than they are voting for Biden.
Right.
And that's what the top of the DNC, they all thought, okay, cool. In a normal year, we wouldn't have a candidate like Biden who's clearly mentally compromised. This would not be acceptable. But being he's running against Trump, we just need someone who can be an alternative to Trump and will win again. Well, now that we're into election season and Trump is actually being much more disciplined, much more coherent. I think he's taken some of the rough edges off his
Compromised, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, sure, fine, whatever. I'm not necessarily a Trump fan, but I think Trump has been campaigning much better than he was maybe
Most
in previous
people
cycles.
think so, and the debate performance kind of shows that, right?
Yeah, like he's smart enough now to realize, all right, I'm just going to let Joe Biden make a fool of himself. And the real question I think the country should be asking is that people who know Biden well have known that this has been going on for years. Why are they only starting to care right now? Mm-hmm. Why are they only starting to care right now? It's like, why didn't this come up in the previous 3 years of him being president? And the reason is Biden has not been making any of the decisions as president over the last couple of years. Very obviously, it's his advisors, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, his cabinet. He's just the public spokesperson they trot out to read off a teleprompter whenever they have to do a just token press conference. Like, Biden is not actually running these meetings and making decisions, but you can't avoid that in an election. In an actual campaign, there's going to be some times where a mic gets put in your face and you cannot read a teleprompter.
And you don't have the Easter Bunny ready to do interference. Right?
Yeah.
On that note, there is a good comment by Qual for Life. Was that Jill in the costume? And there's a compelling case for that. If we don't know where Jill was during the egg crawl or whatever they do on Easter, that's a compelling case.
Well, no, hold on.
Did you just say
Easter.
egg crawl?
Easter.
Like
Egg,
crawl?
I
Easter.
don't know what the heck they do.
Easter.
With
I
the
thought it
White
was
House.
Trans Awareness Day.
Oh,
right?
well, that year
Whatever.
they had named it. What are you, like, in pub crawl mode? This is for kids, Andrew.
I
This is for
forgot.
children.
I forgot there's a lot of young viewers watching this.
Jesus,
I
Andrew.
didn't think he just made that term of egg crawl, and I love it. That's a great term.
I don't know what they do with the egg roll or whatever they do at the White House.
Oh, they probably do a roll. What you got, Dustin?
What you were saying earlier about he was just paraded up to be the spokesperson of whatever, isn't that just the president's job? Isn't that all the president is?
Well, most people think he's actually making decisions.
Have like agency.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, obviously you got
to a certain
advisors.
extent, that's always part of the job. Is
Right.
you're more just the spokesperson, but that was certainly not true of Reagan or Clinton or Bush or Obama. I mean, it's a like no matter what party you're a fan of, those guys were actually making decisions and sometimes disagreeing probably with members of their cabinet advisors, et cetera. You cannot tell me that Joe Biden is making strategic geopolitical decisions on major issues. He is very obviously just doing whatever behind the scenes he's being told to, and has been doing that for several years, which is why they didn't care about replacing him earlier, is because he's just, a useful idiot, right? But you can't avoid that in an actual election. And now it's so apparent how bad it's gotten. And I think, even though obviously everyone on this show is, and most of the listeners, I'd imagine, are extreme conservatives, libertarians, however you categorize yourself.
America
So
first, woke,
yeah, whatever. It's like
red-pilled.
we can make fun of him and laugh and take a very political angle on this, but I think as like a human being, it's like I feel bad for the Biden family, because if that was my dad or my grandpa or my uncle or someone I knew, I'd be like, this is shameful what they're doing to Joe Biden. That this, even though I disagree with all of Biden's politics, basically, it's really sad that this is how he's going to be remembered, because Jill or people close to him don't have the honor, frankly, to be like, okay, let's stop this so that this doesn't become his legacy, is that he was just stumbling around like an idiot, clearly mentally compromised. Joe Biden, with that level of cognitive firepower that we saw on the debate last week, would not get a minimum wage job at most fast food places, because they wouldn't trust him around hot oil or burger. I mean, I'm serious. I'm absolutely, he would not get a job because it would be a safety issue. And yet we're trusting him to run the country, have the nuclear codes. I mean, he should step aside for his legacy. If you care about that, get someone in. Like, this is bad for the country that the whole world is seeing that our leader clearly is not mentally there.
Dawson, go ahead and pull up A1 there, the first one. This is a montage. I posted this on my Twitter. This is a montage of people in the media and politicians in the last, year, talking about the mental faculties of Biden like nothing's wrong. Go ahead and play this.
Version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
He is sharp, intelligent, intensely probing and detail-oriented and focused.
For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America.
This is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game, who knows what's going on.
He's smart. He's on his game.
His mental acuity is great.
This is a very sharp president.
And the people that I've talked to say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine.
They say he's sharp.
There's not a problem.
He was sharp.
He was
All right, you get the
sharper
sense.
than anyone
so
I've spoken.
Sharp. By the way, that's the talking point.
If he's as sharp as a tack, we all need a tetanus shot because that's a problem.
Good one, buddy. Yes, this is the sharp guy. S. Dutton, it's elder abuse. Exactly. 100% it's elder abuse what they're doing to this guy.
I mean, you can think of the federal government, right, as being a giant corporation with guns, right? And, maybe that metaphor doesn't land for some of the audience, but like the point I'm making is that there is no way that a public company that has fiduciary obligation to its shareholders, that has a board, that has has to register with the SEC and follow all these public company guidelines, there is a 0% chance that a public company could be able to have someone like Joe Biden be CEO, because it would so obviously not be in the fiduciary best interest of shareholders to have someone who's has Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, whatever it is, running a $1 trillion organization. That would not be okay. It would be all over the news if the CEO of Walmart was clearly this cognitively compromised, right? Or Target or Ford or insert company. It would not be okay. So why should the United States of America, which has access to nuclear weapons and the most powerful military on earth, and obviously the geopolitical power that we have, even independent of the military because of the size of our economy,
right?
It's being run by someone that probably could not get an entry-level job at most small businesses.
Well, Tucker 91 said Walz blamed the Minnesota flooding on his bad performance. The context of that is Walz apparently called him earlier in the day to talk about an emergency funding for the Blue Earth River flooding down by Mankato. So I think it's safe to say that his Biden's heart and mind was more so thinking about the Blue Earth River, not the national debate. So Tim, he might not be as compromised.
That's obviously why. Yeah, he was just thinking about
and
something
the cold,
else.
and he had a cold.
And he had a cold. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Let's pull up A2 here. This is Jake Tapper. This is what just came out this morning. So breaking sources: Democratic governors held a call yesterday afternoon. Just governors, no staff, no one from campaign or White House. Organized by Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota for the DJ. That's the Democrat Governors Association. By the way, Tim Walz is the chair of it, so that's where he gets in the news here. By the way, and as you said, he's making excuses for Joe Biden, and he said he's going to stand by Joe Biden. He's been saying that, but behind scenes, according to Jake Tapper, fake news, CNN, Jake Tapper, fake news. Okay, whatever. Take it for what it's worth. Let's just take CNN at their word on this one, right? Because I think they actually do get sources from the Democrats, because they are the Democrats, right? On the call, Democrat governors expressed concern about what's going on with the president. They know if they came forward publicly with concern, that likely will cause Biden to dig in more. They were also surprised none of them had heard from him. This is fucking insane. It just, when you read this stuff, it's like, oh, he's not even talking to his Democrat governors. Like, oh my God. They are trying to set up a meeting. Oops, I missed one. There was discussion on the call about wanting to have a call with the campaign or White House, some discussion about having VP Harris address them. There was strong sentiment that they needed to hear directly from President Biden. They are trying to set up a meeting at the White House or via Zoom for those who can't come. Nothing is on the books yet, but White House knows of requests. Dem governors aren't coming in with any specific message, but they feel they need to hear from President Biden. Don't let me forget that link I sent you with Kamala. Remember what I sent you in the... Do you need me to post it in the show?
Yeah.
Thing? Okay, that's easier. Because that is... Have you guys seen this? Oh, this is just so insane. This world just gets more and more insane, okay? I'm just going to put it that way. That's what I want you to do is I want you to pull up A4, which is what we predicted on show 117. That starts at the 4:59 mark. And then I'm going to put this Kamala Harris thing in here. Oh, God, you're on top of it. Okay, this is what we said... sorry, Andrew, I don't have a headset for you.
Oh, all good.
But this is what we guessed. This was back in March. This is right after Super Tuesday. Listen to this.
office after. I didn't know that. As former First Lady Michelle Obama has expressed several times over the years, she will not be running for president, said Crystal Carson, Director of Communications for Office. Mrs. Obama supports President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris' re-election campaign. Right now she does, okay? I mean, I don't honestly, don't give a shit about what you say right now. There's going to be a health scare, right? That's what's going to happen.
Right. That's the thing. She's not planning on it now.
Right.
Could she be planning on the future? Maybe. I don't know. But, as of now, it does seem as if the Democrats are really going to push Joe Biden unless he has, some heart attack or something, because a lot of these Democrats, even at the grassroots level, are docile. They don't really care. They don't want Joe Biden, but they're not willing to do anything to try to fight him because they don't want to get out of line. They don't want to cause problems within their party. The Democrats might be dumb enough to nominate Joe Biden. They did it once before. Why would we think they aren't dumb enough to do it again? They love to have a puppet in there. They love to have someone who just keeps the machine going, and Joe Biden is the perfect candidate for that.
I got an update.
Okay, so that's what I was predicting. And Jesse and I, we've kind of gone back and forth on this thing. I didn't want to show that because, I'm the all-wise guy that predicted this whole thing. But we did guess that this is what was going to happen, was a health scare. I think you just literally watch the health scare, right? But the real reason the Democrats are going to do it, because I totally agree with what Jesse said back in March, is as long as he could beat Biden, why wouldn't they want this vegetable in there? They're just calling all the shots. Pull up A3. It's what I sent you, Dawson. It's the graphic from Real Clear Politics. This just shows why this is a problem for them. These are the swing states. Arizona, Trump's up by almost 6 points. Nevada, he's up by almost 3 points. Wisconsin, it's tied right now. Michigan, he's up by 1.2. Pennsylvania, 3 points. North Carolina, which I don't know if it's a swing state at this point, almost 7. And Georgia, 4 points. Every single state he's up in, with the exception of Wisconsin, he's tied. What do you got, Andrew?
I'll say, and I'm